I have seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking as recently as last Friday.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Good evening, folks. Where did that come from? Sorry about that. Welcome to Alien Addict on this very fine and croaky evening. It's been a weird week in the field. I watched GUFON's show the other day because I don't get time to watch many other shows. And I'm hearing Corbell use the words that we are possibly shooting. Well, he didn't even say possibly. He said we shot one down last Friday. So without further ado, let's bring on my panel tonight. Boys, welcome. We have this very sexist panel tonight. Hidden Underbelly. Not Black Star, not Hidden Underbelly. Sorry, mate. I've brought the wrong person on. I'm really kidding, mate. How you doing? You all right?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm very good. Great to have you here. Rich UFOTech.
Good evening.
That has recently launched his channel. Well, the advert for his channel that is in the description, people. So go subscribe to Rich UFOTech because there's going to be great things coming from him. Lee, my beautiful man with a very blue background. I like that.
It's very blue, isn't it?
How you doing? How you doing? You look a little bit. You look a little bit concerned.
No, not concerned. It's all,
no drama here. You don't have to worry about that.
No
drama here. No drama here. Hidden Underbelly. How you doing, mate?
Everyone, how you doing? How you all doing?
I'm good. I love your voice. There's something very soothing about it.
MSR for UFOs, huh?
And the man, the myth, the legend, Rich from GUFON. Rich, how you doing?
I was in deep thought. Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome, mate. How's the toilet?
It's no frogs. But do you realize I still haven't sat on my own toilet bowl in 5 days?
What? I hope you've gone across the street and used the neighbors.
I used the one at the gym.
Mate,
it's pretty nice, actually. It's like a king's throne. It's for old people.
I don't think frogs
got handles and everything. Huh?
I don't think frogs have teeth. I mean, why would you be scared of that?
Dude, in your toilet bowl, and then it turns around and swims back where it came from, and you flush it, and it shows up in the other toilet bowl? That's why I'm scared. There could be snakes. This is Florida, man. Anything can happen. I was online looking at videos of people trying to get snakes out of their toilets, little alligators. Yeah, it's Florida, baby.
I don't want to sound racist, but like all frogs kind of look the same. How do you know it wasn't two frogs? You might be invaded.
Because there's a family that lives out here, and this one had a very light green coat. It's very rare looking, so I knew it was the same guy.
Maybe
Plus, he winked at me before he left, and he winked again when he, so. He's got a special wink.
Not to be vulgar, but if you shit on it, it probably won't come back to that toilet.
Dude, that's the weird thing. I mean, it showed up after like a huge evacuation, and he still showed up smiling. So I was like,
you could have kept him as a pet.
No, they're outside.
Well, after you shit on
I got him out. Huh?
You got him out. I would say don't keep it as a pet after you pooed on it. Speaking of people pooing, did anybody see David Wilcock's thumbnail? I did a tweet about it overnight, and he deleted it. He got Twitter to delete my tweet, and he didn't. All I said was some simple words. I just said, David, if you're gonna make a thumbnail, try it not to make yourself look like you're taking a dump.
Oh yeah. How do you get that removed? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, Adrian!
Some vinegar strokes going on there.
He looks like Rocky Dennis.
Speaking of things that come out of your bottom, did anybody see? I got this. Rich, you sent me this the other day, and I found it very hilarious.
He is a doctor.
Yeah, true.
Of course, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I said I need to put it out on Twitter. He says it's everywhere apparently, but it was funny. I liked it. I even think Gray would have seen the funny side of that.
Is that true, or somebody made that up?
No, that is true. I went to check it myself, and it was there, just like that.
That looks like it looks like the classic Onion headline.
Yeah. It is.
That's why I thought that had to be made up. But yeah, you just need to see underneath it by the Onion.
Right.
Beautiful.
To provide analysis, anal. That's so funny.
So, funniness aside, boys, I watched your show the other day, Rich.
Whose?
I did your show. Your Rich's show's not launched yet. He's just put an advert on there. Don't get too excited. It's coming, but go subscribe, people. It is in the description. And also, Dark Star Paranormal is going to launch a whopping good channel. And he's got some amazing Black Star Paranormal. Yeah, he's got some great equipment. I've seen it. Something big's coming from that man. But it's not in the description because he's not launched the channel yet. But it's coming. Watch out for that name, people. So I watched your video, and I'd never seen that clip from, is it Howard?
Howard Hughes from Talk TV, yeah.
Love his voice.
I know, right?
Such a nice voice, and it is in the description, Howard. It is, it's his fair use, my friend. We're talking
Yeah, I didn't get it. It was fair use. Yeah.
We're talking about aliens, but I'm going to show you bring up the full clip for anybody who may not have seen it, because I don't think the four boys here, other than you, Rich, that I saw it originally on your channel, have seen it. So I took a clip from it today. I'm going to bring this up. It's only short.
I have seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking as recently as last Friday.
Attempted shoot downs as recently, this is important, as last Friday.
Correct. And it happens on a weekly, if not daily basis. So you have to understand, we are protecting ground troops. So in certain areas of the world, so certain things that come in proximity to those ground troops, it is just
they're treated as hostile. Do we, because time is limited, do they fire back? Have they ever fired back?
That's we'll talk about. I'm going to pass on that question at this moment. But no, there's no aggressive.
That means yes, doesn't it?
What?
That means yes, doesn't it?
No. I will say that there is no overt aggressive action that seems to be taken towards us. It seems more of an observational and also another type of program.
Which screams as we come into the last seconds of this, Jeremy, and thank you for helping me tonight again.
Weird. What a crazy statement.
Did they fire back? We'll talk about it later.
But do you think Jeremy has been told this and Jeremy's just feeding that out?
Yes. Do you know what? No.
No, I don't think so. I think he's just stupid, man.
I think he's doubling down. I think he's still stinging from the UFO hearing, where they poured water all over his theory about the pyramids. So I think he's trying to get his credibility back, personally.
By saying that we're shooting at UFOs?
On a daily, on possibly a daily basis.
Last Friday?
He said that, yeah.
There's no way he could know that. There's no way he would know that they did something. Like, it, I don't know. So just the procedures, the paperwork, the documentation, the approval it takes for a jet to get permission to fire is absurd. It's not like they just do it on a whim. You know, I mean, you're talking people in major high places of chain of command have to be, let loose the missiles over international waters with all this freight going on. No, they're not just willy-nilly doing that. That's absurd.
But he said we have to protect our ground troops. So it's not over international waters that he's talking about. He's talking about we're protecting our ground troops, which means it's on the ground, doesn't it?
Well, he said that's part of it. And
Part of
air
it,
support does protect ground troops. I mean, that's how you do it. Air superiority is what enforces your ground protection. It's how they move. You have to dominate the air, and you know, it's. I think that he's probably been fed a piece of information to continue this narrative that they're a dangerous threat, because he continually kind of pushes that, or at least the government's definition of threat. Maybe not like you or I define threat, but just my thought.
Go ahead, Rick.
Sorry, go on. I was just going to ask, does anybody know where these ground troops are meant to be deployed at the moment? You know, that's the thing.
Because he's talking out his
doesn't make
ass.
sense. Yeah.
Why would you say that? That's an act of war.
Yep.
Against an alien species or an unknown thing, whatever. I mean, daily?
Yeah, that's not happening. I think he was given a piece of information for a story, and he embellished the crap out of it.
As he does.
Well, there was that line out of Unidentified, wasn't it, where the Italians said that they'd had a helicopter that had been struck by a beam, theoretically, and they said that they'd hit the UFO, or they tried to get it with depleted uranium rounds, which is another piece of absurdity.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and the video was supposed to come out and never did, and I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that like, it was a couple of years ago, right? A year ago, maybe more than that. But what he's saying is unreal. I mean, if I was, somebody in the higher ups of the military, I'd be like, shut this guy up. I mean, he can't go around saying this stuff. I mean, can't he get in trouble for saying something like this? I mean, that's really major.
Well, I mean, it depends on his source and like how that came to. I mean, in all seriousness, yeah.
And he can hide. He can hide and say it's a confidential source, so he's not at liberty to divulge his sources.
Yep. Yeah.
But he's the only one saying it. There's no one else in this community saying that I found yet. Anybody?
There's also no one else within a documentary coming out on Netflix really soon. So he's got another documentary coming out on Netflix. So he just happens to be doing the media round again. And the week before he just happens to go on to do a media round, a UFO gets shot out of the sky. So there was no source. It's just complete fucking bullshit, isn't it?
Is that the Skinwalkers at the Pentagon movie?
No, whatever his new one is about Bob Lazar. He's got a new documentary coming on Netflix.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh, okay. I think it's weird. I didn't hear about that.
Let me tell. I'll find out what it's called.
Thank you, Heather. I don't know what they call him. It could be Dave. It could be Trevor. It could be John. I only know him as Black Star. I appreciate the super chat.
It's called. I can't see it. The font on it's stupid. It's another Bob Lazar and the Flying Saucer, and then it's got some other writing underneath it. Bob Lazar, Area 51, the Flying Saucer.
That's the old one.
No, there's a new one coming out because it's supposed to.
He doesn't do 2 documentaries at a time. He has the Skinwalkers at the Pentagon coming out.
Oh, maybe that must be the Skinwalkers one then, mustn't it?
Yeah.
Unless this was like a deleted scene that was put up or something, but either way,
it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
So let's have a think about this. There was recently talk about them setting up a disinformation bureau, wasn't there? In Biden's administration, wanting to have a Ministry of Truth type thing, and it was very quickly shelved. But somebody like Corbell coming on and doing this kind of stuff could really start people thinking, well, should we get this back going again? You know?
Yeah.
Or maybe he's part of the program. Like one of you all said already, I always think that they do put people, the powers that be, when I say they, because I think a lot of things that are going on are a lot bigger than the government, even though we can point the finger at the government. So let's say the powers that be could be using this man to push their agenda, because they did say a long time ago, well, not a long time ago, was it the beginning of this year? They said that they're a threat, and then everybody was questioning, well, where is the threat? And then they said nothing more. Now you got him doing around saying, well, we're shooting them down once a week, if not daily.
They've been saying they're a threat for quite some time.
For 4 years, since Elizondo came around.
Yeah. I'm very sorry, because I don't see the perceived threat. How I see this is that these things have been visiting us for centuries. Yeah, there's documented for centuries. And if they were going to do anything as a threat or even as a help, they would have done it by now, wouldn't they?
Maybe they have. We talk about like ancient cataclysms of other advanced civilizations. Maybe they have. Maybe we've been wiped out 4 or 5 times before now.
Every time we advance to go to outer space, maybe they knock us down a couple of notches.
Back to the Stone Age, motherfucker.
Right. But the threat has been around, and then after the 180-day, that little dump they did with the 9-page preliminary report ended on June 25th last year. Can't believe it's almost a year. They stopped talking about the threat the day after. Mm-hmm. And Jeremy Corbell's the first one I've heard talking about this threat again, but not using the word threat, but being shot down and stuff. I mean, shooting at UFOs, it's unbelievable. It's such a huge claim. I can't believe nobody's picking up and talking about it.
Mm. I mean, it makes sense, to be fair. I don't think Corbell's got any extra knowledge, but it makes sense when you look back at the Battle of Los Angeles and stuff like that. I think if these things are just floating around in the sky, we probably have tried to get them out of it.
Wasn't the Battle of Los Angeles? They were shooting at what they thought was an enemy craft. They didn't. Their first instincts wasn't it's a UFO.
Right.
It's only afterwards that they looked at everything and they said, well, this is something unknown that was there.
I don't know if you empty supposedly how many shells they emptied at that thing, and it's like a massive glowing object. You're gonna look at it and think it's not a fucking Messerschmitt. That
people got hurt from those shells. You know, the one that
they were falling.
Yeah,
there was like 1,100 rounds or something in the wee hours.
It's a really cool story as well, isn't it?
It is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that wasn't mentioned at the congressional hearing.
Yeah. They kept it current from 2004 up to now.
I know, but they need to venture into the past.
You'd have thought they'd have brought up the UFOs buzzing the was it White the Capitol House. Building, the White House?
Capitol, I think, something like
yeah. But you'd think that would have come up given what they were talking about.
I don't think you're going to see them bring up anything that takes from the narrative that they're instilling publicly. Mm-hmm. Like, it's clearly a public move between Corbell. Like, I'm not saying Corbell and Lou Elizondo are working together. What I'm saying is whoever put those people into play or whoever's slipping them information is feeding one ego and the other money, or maybe money and ego, whatever. And they're doing a really good job when you look across the UFO community. It's a lot of people fighting, a lot of disorganization, a lot of hyper focus on them instead of the topic. And then when you see from the government aspect, because however they've got it, they definitely have it. They have the largest megaphone at the party. So the media in Congress talk to them. Not anyone with actual information or knowledge or studies, just the two with the loudest megaphone. The question is, who gave them the megaphone and why?
Nice.
I think it's Mellon. Mellon stepped in and helped because he's got all the connections, I think. And Lou does too. But Lou is friends with Mellon. So, combine those two heads together and you got a lot of connections.
Yep.
And then George Knapp.
Sorry. Does anybody else think that Jeremy Corbell might just be buying himself into all of this? That he's got people and he's just throwing money at them for videos and stuff like that, and what he might be getting is just poor actors or disinformation, one or the other.
Or he's a filmmaker and he could be creating them in the studio. Third option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think there's something we're forgetting here, though. His name got mentioned at the congressional hearing, and now we're seeing this little clip that was on Howard's channel. You know, it's very. I know I use these words a lot, but it is very strange. You know, I don't understand it. It follows on very nicely from this, and I don't believe in coincidences. You know, this seems to follow on so nicely from this. I think when people are saying that Corbell is, you know, he's just trying to make as much money off this that he can. I mean, good on him. That's what I say. If that's what he wants to do, make the fucking money. Good on him. I would if I could do
on lies.
Hear me out, Rich. But what I'm saying, he's doing these documentaries, and to him, everything he's doing in these documentaries is right. I actually enjoyed Bob Lazar, Area 51, and Flying Saucers. You know, I bought it. I didn't refund it. I bought it. Didn't get a discount though, Jeremy. You told me. You said if I mentioned it. But my point is here. His name was mentioned at the congressional hearing, right at the beginning. Why? Why was his name made so apparent at that?
Because it was the video.
Right at the...
Yep.
Yeah. He
That's
brought
all.
the video out, but
they were
also
making him an example of it.
He made a global splash with those videos.
Right.
A global splash. So they have to. Was Lou's name mentioned? Sorry, Rich, for cutting you off.
No, his name. Right. I don't think it was.
It wasn't. No, Elizondo wasn't, but his was, and I think they also pretty much said in the same breath that it was Boca and it was a normal civil aircraft or a drone or something like that.
There's a camera artifact.
They had debunked his video basically.
Well, you know, at least they're in line with the rest of us.
Yeah.
But their half-truths are also the most dangerous lies. Straight up lies, easy to be seen. Half-truths, that's where things really get squirrely. And I think they use Corbell because he is a perfect tool. I mean, the guy used to own and have like self-defense, his own brand of jiu-jitsu. Kind of did that whole thing. Then decided he was an artist who was going to start making films, and somehow miraculously got hooked up with George Knapp, and George Knapp just fed him story after story, connection after connection. That's a hell of a thing.
It is. That's the thing. I want to get onto the George Knapp thing as well. Definitely 100% Black Star. But you can help me out. Thank you so much, Mystic 15. That will. My wife, if she sees this super chat, she's going to want a new pair of shoes. It's all for the channel.
Can I say thank you as well, Mystic, because these guys here are working without. So thank you.
Yeah,
and he helps. Says, very, very cool. Actually, Mystic 15's very generous. Corbell said that in his documentary too, based on the jets were getting their IFF jammed, which is considered aggression or an act of war. So that combined with the pilot saying they see them every day during their maneuvers, there are non-kinetic weapons. Okay.
I don't know what pilots are seeing them every day because I know fighter pilots, and I asked them multiple times. They've never seen anything like that.
According to Ryan Graves, you know, he says we were seeing them almost every day for 2 years. But Jeremy Corbell saying they're still seeing them as of last week or 2 weeks ago. And now they're firing on them. It's strange. And what is a non-kinetic weapon, by the way? I think I know what it is.
Yeah,
but
I don't know what that is. I was just about to ask that.
So a kinetic weapon is where you throw something and it hits something.
Oh, connectivity, yeah.
Kinetic energy. So it's a projectile, basically. So a non-kinetic weapon might be something like a directed energy weapon. So like microwaves or a laser or something
right on.
like that.
Oh, non-kinetic. So it's energy wave or something that doesn't cause physical damage. Just
Well, it might
messes
do.
up with your system.
Yeah,
computers?
it might do, but it doesn't use a projectile or doesn't throw something. Yeah.
Good stuff, Mystic 15. Yeah.
Thank you, Mystic 15.
That's true. They did say in the documentary that they were getting their radars jammed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is that could be an act of war. But what's that?
I was just going to say, because back to the pilots, when you were saying like the fighter pilots haven't reported seeing anything yet, could it be that just because they don't report seeing it, they haven't seen anything? Because
True.
because my thing is, like, I know you guys know that I deal with civilian sightings, and in civilian sightings, civilian airline pilots, they all have GoPro cameras. And there was a moment where we were getting not a lot, but some footage from these pilots and their GoPro. Then it seized up. It just stopped. So, I mean, they are seeing things. Civilian pilots, they're seeing things too. And I'm not saying it stopped. I'm saying the footage has stopped, because there was the famous one with I say it's a sphere. Some people say it's a cube. Out I think it was over Colombia, where the pilot released the footage, and it went crazy on the internet. It just went crazy, and then he retracted it. He made a retraction on the footage saying it was a balloon.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, but
yeah.
see, I actually had that. Can I tell you why I'm telling you that it wasn't a balloon? Yeah. Because if you went to his channel, he posted a video, and I think he'd done this on purpose to let us know, those who can figure out what he was up to, that he had to retract what he said, that it was a UFO. He had to say it was a balloon, because on his channel now, he posted something that was clearly a balloon. Yeah. And he entitled it UFO. So
why was that? Was he going to lose his job or something? I don't know.
That's what I feel. Because not only did he show this UFO, but he showed the instruments. And if I'm corrected, you can't show the instruments, the flight instruments. And I think that was possibly the problem. And also, we knew his name. So that was another one. Like most pilots, they don't. Well, the pilots that I've dealt with, you'll never get their names. You'll be lucky to get the flight number. The only how you'll get the flight number if they have air traffic control support. Then you get the flight number, because if you look hard enough, you'll find it. Because air traffic control is always being recorded. There's some civilian out there recording them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jen, that's what people got to do. If somebody's got an experience, email me. There it is. There's the email, people. No, I get that hidden underbelly. The thing is with these pieces of footage that we keep getting over and over again is that they either cut off, or we can't trust the sources that they come from. And when it comes to actual video footage of every man and his dog filming with GoPros or whatever, or on mobile phones, Rich, how hard is it to film any object in the sky on a mobile phone?
Yeah,
it's not that hard, but it's hard to zoom in and focus clearer than you can on a with a regular camera. There's
we're getting there though.
They're getting there. They've got a few years to go, but yeah.
I mean, well, you if you've got any decent Huawei above a P50, any of the new Pro Samsung Galaxy lines. I mean, I had the Huawei P50 when I had a Android phone, and I remember lying on my back in the garden, and a plane was going over, because that's got like 25 times, I think it is, optical zoom, and then it's up to 50 times zoom with like digital, and with the plane that was going over my house, I took a photograph of that, and you could clearly see it was a plane. Like it was really good, you know. So I know not everybody in the world has those, but you would think more and more that we would be getting better and better stuff.
But nighttime, they still suck.
Nighttime still sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate nighttime footage myself.
Yeah.
The night hides a lot of things.
It certainly does. Going back to this piece that Corbell did, what did you think to his reaction? I mean, I've got a little tiny clip of the reaction, the way he reacted when Howard asked him, you know, do they ever fire back? So I'm going to play that now.
Because time is limited, do they fire back? Have they ever fired back?
That's we'll talk about. I'm going to pass on that question at this moment, but no, there's no aggressive.
That means yes, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's good. He answered that like a
He didn't expect that, did he?
No.
He expected him to go, wow, and that's the end of the show. But no, he asked the right question, man. You can see it. You can see that.
I wonder if they had a prearranged understanding of the questions that would be asked, and he wasn't expecting that. He wasn't prepped for it.
Maybe. That guy's got an excellent podcast, by the way. Unexplained with Howard, whatever his name is a really good podcast.
It's the first time I've ever seen it. That when Rich put the video out, but it is in the description below, people. So
well, that's Talk TV, isn't it? That's the YouTube version of Talk Radio. With Julie Hartley Brewer and stuff like that, people like that. But yeah, he's got his own like podcast that he's had for years.
Oh, I'll add that to the description. Send me a link. I'll put it in.
I'll have a look.
Lovely voice. I like him. What did you think to that, Lee, to his reaction?
It was just it was normal Corbell, wasn't it? He kind of does the same sort of thing, just not as good as Lou. He wants to own the conversation, doesn't he? So that's why he had to try and bat that way. So we'll get to that later, because he didn't want to address it at that point, because he just wanted to continue what he was talking about. He looks so weird when he talks. Have you ever seen a man open their eyes so much when they're trying to say something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you know what? It's interesting to talk about because it's there. It's almost not worth talking about anymore when it comes to him, I think. Do you know what I mean?
No, I do. That's why I'm laughing. It's like all about what comes next. What's going to be the next one? We shot a body.
Fucking blue beam. That's what's going to happen.
I was there at a dissection. No, what's the next grift?
I don't think it's a grift. I genuinely believe that this is building up to something, and there is a reason for what's going on.
Oh, you buy into what they're saying about the great deceptions coming, because I heard you mention Project Bluebeam, the alien deception, but for what purpose?
I don't think what's going on. The fact that we decided to the fact the US government decided to start acknowledging aliens during the pandemic and when everybody's in lockdown, I don't think are accidents.
That's not true. They've been talking about this before that.
No, not like this though. Not like that.
No, it was more than this.
You think?
During the pandemic? Yeah.
That's for me. During the pandemic was more than that.
Yeah. I've never seen it on TV so much.
But no, that's
mainstream.
I think it's but that's the thing. I think it's building, and I think it's building to something. There's something. There's stuff there, breadcrumbs to keep people interested.
Maybe, but this is what they've done in the past. They did this in the 50s. The same exact thing. Nothing different. It's all the same. If you go back and listen to the 50s, 1954, I believe it was, that congressional hearing, it's the same verbiage. It's the same script. And I don't think we're going anywhere.
Spin control.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And let's not forget, after June 25th, because the 8 to 10 months leading up to that, every day there was something on mainstream media about UFOs, pretty much. And after June 25th, nothing. It was silent up until just, a couple of weeks ago. Now, now it's getting silent again. That's what they do in ufology. In the government, they don't keep things going enough to keep people interested. So it looks like to you and I that things are moving forward when they're really just spinning. That's it. It's nothing.
I mean, people have to chase up. I mean, somebody must be chasing up Corbell now after what he said.
Nope.
So somebody must want an answer. To
nobody's talking about
what happened last Friday. By the way, did anybody look up what happened last Friday? Did anybody get anything about any reports of anything being shot down or fired upon?
Nope.
You wouldn't.
How does he know that something was shot down last Friday?
Because he doesn't.
Not shot down, fired upon.
Right.
He's got a trusted source, man. Just believe he's got a source he cannot name, but it's a trusted source. He trusts him.
Here's the thing, though.
And you're telling me it's not a grift?
He's being used. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
he's being used.
Okay. So you don't think Jeremy Corbell is making all this shit up? You think he's been told all of these things to say?
Yeah, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not bright enough.
I found something a while ago, just recently, that might point to a slightly different thing. I've shared a PDF link in the private chat, but I'll just read some of it out. So on May the 25th, the National Reconnaissance Office announced that the results of its largest ever commercial imagery contract awarded to electro-optical commercial layer contracts to Black Sky, Maxar and Planet, valued at billions of dollars over the next decade. And what these are basically commercial imagery from satellites. And this could be worth billions to people perhaps wanting to purchase images or videos of UAP or anything else that's from space. Could this be the start of a very, very a new gold mine in terms of data from our satellites? And that's a document.
Rich, reverse that like I'm a baby.
Explain to me in football terms.
Okay, the
Not everybody has your brain.
The National Reconnaissance Office, what they do basically, they've announced is that there are 3 businesses that are going to be able to sell satellite imagery, and people can buy it. So with all of this renewed interest in space and everywhere between satellite level and the ground, is there going to be a new massive commercial opportunity for people to buy satellite imagery for any purpose whatsoever? And could this be a huge governance issue and a privacy issue that people will want to resolve? And can we do that by arousing everybody's curiosity about what's in the skies, so we allow people to see in our back gardens?
You don't look in my back garden.
Maybe.
That's insane.
it's
not really. I'm just putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 9 here.
No, I don't mean you're insane. I mean that.
Yeah.
What are these though? Are they cameras that are on a constant roll?
Yeah.
Because imagery makes me think more of a still picture.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm reading this. It says the NRO has a long-standing strategy of buy what we can, build what we must. The diversity offered by our expanding architecture, comprised of both commercial and NRO systems, increases our resilience and enables an integrated approach to the threats facing our nation. So to me, that sounds like they want to build stuff strategically to protect the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using this technology to find out where they can do that. Is that what I'm seeing, Rich?
Yeah. So this is moving into commercial use of electro-optical data. Yeah.
So how does this factor into the UFO community or the UFO story?
Well, announcing or arousing the public's curiosity about what's in the skies and things like that could produce a lot more investment in that area, and also it makes it more permissible for people to be able to acquire and share this information. If we're all curious about it, we're less likely to be suspicious about it.
Almost weaponizing people's curiosity.
You son of a bitch.
Yes.
Oh no.
Ribbit.
By the way, I did name the frog Neo, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I heard that, but I'm just a bit disappointed you didn't keep it. You know,
he's outside, man. He lives behind the shutters.
Stephen Gray would have had it.
Maybe it was gifted to me. I don't know. In my toilet. That's funny. No, anyway, so that's interesting that they would use that technology. I could see that happening.
It's an interesting aside. I wouldn't say it was but it comes back to why are they wanting to reveal all of this? You know, the military and the secret services don't reveal anything unless it's to achieve a strategic goal. You know, and we saw that with Elizondo in terms of he was pushing it as a threat, and then all of a sudden there was going to be an office set up, and he changed that narrative to one of a security breach. Do you remember? So as soon as they started putting those gears into effect, he then started pushing the security breach.
He just saw more. He just saw more work in what he was doing, and he decided, "Hey, I can stay in bed and say they're a security breach, than go into an office to say they're a threat."
And then just as they announced the AOIMSG, and then he chucked his toys out of his pram, didn't he? And he said that this was all going to be a cover up again, and now he's shut up about it. So yeah, it's very weird. So let's see what he comes up with in the next.
Lee, this TV program, is it a British TV program?
It's British. It's YouTube. It's what Piers Morgan's talk show's on.
Right, because I find that interesting because Rich, UFOTech, you were on Cambion's show the other day, Rich's best friend, and you got asked a question that we've spoke about many a times on Alien Addict here, that we don't hear much in the UK about UFOs, aliens, whatever, you know, UAPs, whatever you want to call them, the aerial threat. We don't hear about that. But I find that this little clip, this Call Bell going on this show and actually giving that bit of information that's not gone out in the States on a UK show.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, it's Talk TV. I wouldn't put much into that. Like Talk TV's numbers are in the bin. Even Piers Morgan's show has been a complete and utter failure. And he started his show off by interviewing Donald Trump, didn't he? Which realistically, it should have set it on fire. You know, it should have gone through the roof. I've just gone on to Talk TV now on YouTube. There's only 267 people watching it live on YouTube. So what?
We've got half of them nearly.
Yeah. So I just think maybe they thought. I mean, the whole channel, he's got 303,000 subscribers, which, you know, it's, but on a national channel of a country, it's not You know, you would at least expect them to be approaching 1 million, wouldn't you, for something like that?
Yeah, I just find it interesting that that Corbell goes onto a channel that's kind of a British channel. It's been watched by the Brits. Yeah, he has never said that on an American channel.
Maybe he thinks he can get away with. Maybe thinks he can get away with it better because there isn't a lot of coverage.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Not only that, if he's talking in a British country, British news outlet, I'm sure there's international differences in terms of, you know, he won't get done in his own country for saying something that's theoretically in another country.
And Elizondo is going to speak at the is it the Brazilian Congress?
Yeah, Brazilian Congress.
He's going to go over there so he can get away with saying what he can't hear. Why wasn't he here at ours? He's the big guy. Shouldn't he have been at that Congress hearing? Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Rich, do you think that this is for GUFON, Rich? Do you think that Lou would have known exactly what Corbell was going to say on that show, or maybe not on that show, but he knew that those words were going to be dropped at some point down the line from Corbell?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't think those guys talk to each other. Maybe they do, but man, Lou has so many stories going on. I don't know what to believe, what he would be thinking, and that's done, on purpose. But I think we'll find more out when we find out what he says at the Brazilian Congress, if he says it too. I'd like to see if he mentions that.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly just play a mini clip of it again, just for the newcomers that have joined that may have not seen it on your channel already, Rich.
I have seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking as recently as last Friday.
Only a twat would have a safe and a typewriter as ornaments as a background.
No, but that's where the alien flute is in there,
Right.
Okay. It's a gun safe. It's a specific type. It's a Liberty brand.
Oh.
Bet he keeps dildos in it.
Definitely. Big ones. Huge.
Biggest. He said that's where he keeps all his documents and stuff.
You know the funny thing is, I actually think Jeremy Corbell is probably a nice guy. A genuine. I don't.
He's not. He's not. I've got facts. I know he's not.
I'd like to go to a beefer with him.
No, not because of me. Because of stories that everybody says he's an ass.
I think he wants to be in control of the subject. Like if he's involved in talking, he wants to command what's going on. But right, remember what we were saying the other week about who was the guy that was on your channel? That's he's on the channel with Rather Be Squidden guy.
Lou Evangelis.
Yeah.
What's his other name? He's got two names. I don't know which one's which.
Lou Jimenez.
Yeah.
So why is he calling himself Lou Evangelis?
That's his Twitter call sign.
Ah, okay.
But remember when we were talking to Rather Be Squidden, and I said to him, I said, if you all of a sudden have Lou Elizondo turn up in your house, or turn up at your work,
right?
It's going to make you feel like you're part of a film all of a sudden, yeah. Now you times that by 1 million, when all of a sudden you're Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp gets involved with you. The next thing is you're making a documentary about Bob Lazar. You talk about that overnight. You're all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you think you're fucking Fox Mulder. That's it. Corbell has had the extreme version of what that Lou guy's had.
True.
Yep.
Here's a question, Rich, because I know you're good friends with the boys, but the same opportunity given for the same documentary with Bob Lazar, do you think that would have been done differently?
Can you repeat that? I was daydreaming for a second. What?
So Corbell was given the opportunity, probably through George Knapp, to do that documentary with Bob Lazar. Do you think that Third Phase of Moon would have handled that the same if they'd been given that opportunity?
No. No. And I think there's possibility they may be doing something. I don't know, but I can never say. I mean, we didn't talk about it, but you never know with those guys. They would have done it differently. Yeah.
What could have been done different? That's what I'm saying. What could have been done from somebody who's already given all the information that apparently we're going to get from him? They would
have maybe convinced Lazar to say more than what he did. Maybe, I don't know, man. I mean, I know what you're saying. It's like, what else can there be said about him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But if you take away, if that movie was never made, what would they have done differently? I don't know. I really can't tell you, because they always surprise me with what they do. So, just like the new documentary that's coming out with Greer, they did on the CE5. They're from what they told me, there's some things that I didn't expect them to do. And we're going to see Greer like you've never seen him before. So I think we would have seen Bob Lazar like we would have never seen him before.
Apparently, we are going to see him like we've never seen him.
That's so funny. But, yeah, I don't know, because there's so much out there on Bob Lazar. It's like, it's too much. I don't know what to believe. I don't know, man. I think Bob Lazar was also was like a test subject, or maybe he was paid to tell this story. I don't know if he really worked at S4 or whatever, but when you watch Jeremy's movie, it kind of looks like he didn't, in my opinion, especially with the hand scanner that was in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and another story that Bob was talking about, the Element 115. There was an article that came out 2 weeks before he went public about 115. On 115, there was an article in a magazine, a science magazine, about Element 115. So a lot of things Bob said could have been from magazines, could have been given to him to talk about. I don't know, man. The whole thing's weird, especially with John Lear and being friends with certain people and getting him. I don't. It's all convoluted.
You mean the father?
His father, John Lear. I think they look a lot alike, man. I'm not. I'm telling you, man. Something's weird about that whole Bob Lazar story. It's almost as if he was taken to a facility, like a mock-up facility for S4, and they told him this is what you're going to work on.
So Bob's not lying.
So
Bob's not lying then.
Right, that's right. He's not lying, but he doesn't know the truth, because maybe the whole thing was a setup to get the word out. What?
That would make him stupid.
No, it wouldn't.
It would.
No.
It would. No. If a guy has that much intelligence and he's working on a fake UFO.
So when it comes to when it comes to U.S. government research projects, major labs, like not clandestine, but like regular major labs, you could be working on, and these are PhD level guys. These are high intellect guys, high IQ guys. One of them I'm going to try and get to come on the show once we launch. And I'd love to come on here if I can get him to agree to it. But he's worked on projects that he knew were total BS. Just the nature of the parameters they gave him to build X didn't equal Y. Didn't even make sense. But they'd constantly do security checks randomly. You'd have a government official come in, pick up everyone's laptop, cell phones, clone them, hand them back. We used to send him pictures of penises, big ones. So there's
not your own then.
Oh no, definitely my own, definitely. But those were for the gag reel when I wanted him to laugh. But no, it's you can work on a project. No, you can work on a project and not know what the project is. Like, that's common.
Gag reel.
Oh dear me.
The other interesting thing about Lazar, which I only found out the other day, and it's probably just me being ignorant, I didn't realize there was a video with him doing a tour of a car he had, where he was one of these people that converted his car to run on water. Yeah. Interesting thing about those people is those people, especially the ones that make videos and put them out of them doing these things, often end up dead.
Indeed.
So, yeah. So I find it interesting that Bob Lazar, who's already outed flying saucers, has then built a car that runs on water, and isn't fucking dead. Is odd.
That's why I think he's test
Shyster.
subject. I don't know, man. Nothing seems right about that story. Can't find out where he got his degree exactly. I mean, most people remember all their teachers, and they usually remember him. And where are the students that were his friends? I didn't ever see one of those. Maybe that's what the boys could have done, Ollie. They maybe find out who were his friends in the past.
I was his friend. I went to school with him.
See?
There you go. I mean, anybody could say that, couldn't they? Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah. But, maybe there's a picture. A school picture.
Sorry.
I think what I was getting at, that anybody that given the opportunity to do that documentary would have done it. I think anybody would have complained about that documentary, no matter what.
Right.
The worst thing about that documentary for me was the beginning. The strain, the blatant acting on the phone part. That looked all staged.
Because it was.
It was staged, but it was just there for theatre. It was that theatrical thing, And I actually like Mickey Rourke being the.
But that's those
the
things.
voice.
Those things, though, are the difference between putting a documentary out which gets like a few thousand people watching it, or a few million people watching it. It's those things that draw people in it. They take it from being something that, like, no disrespect to people that put stuff up on YouTube, but they take it away from it looking like something that should be on YouTube and something that deserves to be on Netflix.
You don't think this should be on Netflix?
What, this right now? Absolutely.
Yeah.
100% should be on Netflix.
Sign me up. What you're saying is you can only have a successful documentary if you've got a guy narrating it that nobody can understand.
Yeah, a guy narrating it no one understands, and plenty of B-roll footage of a desert.
That's because they're friends. So he knew him. So it was an easy pick for him.
I love the film The Wrestler. Love it.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
I like Mickey Rourke. He's a good actor.
Going to get to watch it in real life as well when Ric Flair makes his comeback. Because that's going to end the same way as that film.
Ric Flair, is he still alive?
Yeah, he's not only is he alive, he's training, and he promises to come off the top rope in his final match.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
And then when he hits the mat, he splits into a million pieces.
You just, like China, like China just shatters.
Hang about, Lee. You don't believe stuff that's going on in ufology, but you believe in wrestling.
I want to believe.
We believe
really scripted.
We believe in Ric Flair.
Woo!
But where is the real danger? Is the real danger in wrestling, or is the real danger in ufology? That is the question.
There is when you're 1 million years old.
Yeah.
Corbell put himself in his own movie for 22 minutes or something? He was in that movie 20-something minutes himself.
Yeah, you had a real problem with his feet.
Well, no, you don't walk around in a documentary with your skinny jeans curled up like you were just clam digging and showing your feet.
I would. 100%.
Is it jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu?
Right now.
Jiu-jitsu, yeah. Quantum jiu-jitsu.
He opened up his own dojo, too.
Wow.
He's a real fighter.
Hey, Rich is the martial art guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rich, would you do a documentary with your feet out if it wasn't a...
No.
He thought he was being artsy. It's a bad look, dude. It's
just
bad look.
It's just some feet.
He's one of the worst documentary filmmakers in history.
Ouch.
He is. He is. You have a big name, you're gonna get sales. That movie could have been really huge if it was done right. It was
I think
awful.
it was huge, though, wasn't it?
I know, but it
Yeah.
could have been that much bigger. It was just awful.
That's what
It
I was
really-
asking.
all
What
of
could
his
have been-
movies
What
are
could have
really
been done
bad.
differently? What could he have possibly done to make that movie better?
I think
Take
it was
yourself out of it.
Out of it. Oh, jinx.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay,
yeah. But do you know what though? And this isn't me saying I believe what was in it. As a double act, they work. Lazar's too dry to have on his own. Then you've got fuck, I forgot his name. Jesus Christ, Lee, come on, we'll talk about the prick.
Corbell.
Yeah. You've got Corbell, which is like pretty flouncy and he's obviously a very artsy type guy, and a complete extrovert. I think it balanced it well. You know, there's no way if he wasn't as involved in that film as he was, there's no way Lazar goes on Joe Rogan's show.
Well, this is why I don't think about all of this being a huge conspiracy. I actually think that Lazar was just a very boring, very lonely man who decided that he could make himself appear interesting if he told big stories.
Maybe.
And I think it's as simple as that, honestly.
It would make sense, but I think the problem with the Lazar story is it's so fucking delicious to want to believe it's true. You know, it's that's the thing. You know that story of if one sighting is true, then it's fine. You know, you can have a million hoaxes where if one's real and one's proven real, it changes everything. Mm-hmm. His story is that if his one story is true, so many other things are proven correct from that story. So it makes you want to believe it.
Yeah, but this is why I keep coming back to is we are a vulnerable community because we want to believe so badly.
Hope.
And we are vulnerable. We are particularly susceptible to somebody dangling a UFO-shaped carrot in front of us, and that's what Bob Lazar's done. You know, he hasn't become the superstar that I suspect he wanted to be, at least for a short amount of time. But the fact that he ended up with a bunch of hookers, you know, tells you something about him as well. I think
it's a nice little Thursday night.
Putting all that aside,
means you can fuck.
You know,
yeah.
Putting all that aside, all of it. Get the Lazar stuff out of the way. Get the Skinwalker, the other documentaries, whatever the zany stuff that you did with martial arts and what was it? Martial arts and what, Rich? What did you call
quantum. It was quantum.
Quantum. They like that word, quantum.
Yeah.
That's like Star Trek.
It's like
Love it.
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah. Taking all that aside, how do you get from all that, from doing the Skinwalker Ranch, from doing the Bob Lazar, making a few little bold statements, putting a few videos out last year to
I
this?
have seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking as recently as last Friday.
How did you get to last Friday? How did we get to shooting UFOs last Friday from all that?
Because the Friday before,
who spotted him? Who spotted him?
Because the Friday before, they stood up in Congress and said that his pyramid UFOs were bokeh.
They did say that.
He's got to double down. He's got to, or else he'll be his value's gone through the floor.
But they also mentioned his name and gave him credit at the beginning. They may have said it was bokeh, but I could be wrong. But when they were showing that, they still said they had no idea what this thing was. But they said that the reason, the way that they were saying it, the reason why it's a triangle is because of that's the way the camera films it. But they did say that it was unidentified.
But it even flashes at the same rate as civil aircraft. You know, it's
agreed.
Well, haven't you seen? Have you guys seen the reconstruction of that footage? Where no? Well, they've actually gone out, filmed it with this effect, and they've recreated it.
Oh right. Yes, I have seen it. And Mick West did it. When Mick West, yeah, it was Mick West that did it.
It wasn't him. It was through somebody else. He highlighted it.
Oh, okay.
He didn't actually go.
I think it was Chris Leto. Maybe. That guy.
I don't know. It was. I seen it off of the guy who filmed it, man. And like when I saw that footage, it just laid it to rest. If they could create the same exact thing,
right?
It just laid it to rest.
I thought it was Mick.
What he did was he highlighted where the two stars were and everything, so we knew where it was in the sky. But you had people out there that went out, did what he said with the lens, and they got it. They got a normal aircraft.
Well,
it totally looked like a normal aircraft. Go on, Rich. Sorry.
It is, and the flash rate of the lights are exactly what it is of a commercial jet airliner, and that's not supposed to happen if it's military or UFO. Well, we don't know. People are saying, they duplicate. You know, they look like they can make themselves look like planes. I'm like, shut off. Why would they do that if they could cloak themselves? Also, Jeremy said that there was a swarm of them. We only saw one. You know, this guy's using swarm like he says weaponize his curiosity. It's like ridiculous verbiage.
I ain't gonna get into it, man. But listen, can I ask a question? Can I just ask a question? What would be your ideal topic that you would like to see documented, done as a documentary? What case? What story?
If this.
You know what? That's a good one, man. Because you know who would do that good? South Park.
I'll have to think about that. I'll go to the.
There is one that I would like to know about a bit more, but I think it would require a lot of money to do, and that is there was a case where a load of, I think it was in Russia, there was people out on a expedition or something like that, and they got attacked in their tents and
the Davlos Pass. I can't say it.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Davlos Pass. Yeah.
They had one of them was found with their tongue removed in the tent, I think.
Yeah.
Well, also, it looked like they were being chased. It could have been hypothermia, but man, it's a weird case, that's for sure. No footprints other than their own. What was chasing them around? And when you get hypothermia, you somehow want to take off your clothes for some reason. Some of them were without clothes, naked. I don't know, man. It's the weirdest case. That's a good one. I'd like to see something done on that.
I'd like to see the Lonnie Zamora case done over.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen anybody do that.
What's
like
that?
The Lonnie, that was in was it 1970s, Rich?
Zamora, 67, I think.
Was it 67?
I think so.
It was a case where it was a police officer that he pulled up at the side of the road and saw like an egg. I say tic-tac shaped UFO that was just kind of parked with two small beings with what looked like wearing kind of spacesuits and it had a weird symbol on the side of the craft, just right in the middle in red, this weird strange symbol, and this thing took off and buggered off. somebody said it left a piece of landing gear behind. I've heard that so many times. I don't know how true that is, but what was interesting about that case is the symbol on the side of it, because the newspapers kept changing the way it looked from what it was being described, which, whether that is just them getting it wrong, but he was telling them what exactly he remembered the symbol, but this symbol was being changed all the time. And that's, am I right? Rich, you know the case well, do you?
Yeah, it was 1964. Yep. And there were certain symbols, or a symbol on the side of it that was like a circle with a line through it. And we've seen it in other documentaries. Looks like they were just not documentaries, but movies, and stuff like that. But yeah, and they kept changing the way the symbol looked. Yeah.
That's the most interesting thing for me, the symbol.
Well, there were also footprints. Those little beings, as he called them, looked the size of children. They were wearing overalls or coveralls, how we put it. I don't know, man. There were footprints. There was landing impression from the craft. It's an interesting, and some burnt brush on the side, around the perimeter of it. It's a little bit of trace evidence over there. That's a good case. I believe the guy.
Yeah. He's not alive anymore, though, is he?
No, he died. He was 76 when he died, I believe.
Yeah, he's Lonnie's a no more.
He died November in 2009. So,
did he?
In a minute.
Wow.
Yeah.
His family must be still alive, though, to tell the story. So somebody could go do a really great story on that.
Oh, there's a lot of archival footage and interviews he did, newspaper clippings and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, but there's nothing new. I would like to see an interview, with whoever's left behind to tell the story.
I like Dorothy Izat. For those of you, if you don't know her, she's the lady who captured. She had a feeling that there was something outside. She saw these lights, like in the form of a triangle, and every time she took a picture, that it showed massive movement, And then she had a high-8 camera that she borrowed or bought. And in one frame, it had one light. The next frame, it had all these tons of lights, which she was calling light beings. And then in the third frame, in succession, there was one light again. And everybody who looked at that, all the people who know about cameras and film, said it's impossible for that to happen. She didn't fake it, and it's one of the best cases I've ever seen. They did a documentary with her a few years back. She just died recently, but when her daughter was talking about what her mother was going through and giving her, story about it, behind her there was a UFO outside, and they didn't know it when they were shooting the documentary, but it's a really amazing UFO that was captured by accident in this documentary. So you may want to look up Dorothy Izat. It's a really good case. It's a
great documentary.
Yeah, it is great. I've seen it now 3 times because it's really, it's amazing.
You know what documentary I'd like to see made that no one ever talks about, that I think would actually be pretty easy to do if you didn't mind potentially ruining people's lives?
We could live.
Like, fun fact, like Area 51's actually owned by the Department of Energy. It's DOE land. DOE land. It's not DOD, it's not military, it's DOE, Department of Energy. So that gives them a lot of different leeways and contracts. Interestingly enough, all DOE sites are contract security. Now, they're high-level, well-trained guys, and a thing just went forward. It used to be like the national lab system all had the exact same contractor, and they're a union, and they lobby with the contractor, so different contract, like what I mean by contractors, overall companies come and go, but the union stays with the employees. Well, that's about to change, and there's a lot of people that are disgruntled. Now, these national labs are all over the United States. They study incredible stuff, and their security guys usually operate on rotations, especially their special response teams. Like, they love to go train in the desert at different facilities, Area 51 being one of them. These guys have seen incredible things. They're kind of like janitors. They're just overlooked. No one wants to talk to him because he's not a PhD. He's not a quantum this. He's not whatever. But these guys have hundreds and thousands of hours not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds and or thousands of hours out on watch at night, seeing crazy things in the sky. And you got to see, most of these guys all have some kind of military experience depending on the facility. Most of them are former special forces, former something or another. They know what they're looking at. They know what they're talking about. It's not difficult to get in those guys' circles, win a little bit of trust, get them off the record and talking. They'll love to, I mean, get a couple beers in them, and they'll tell you crazy stories. Whether they're true or not, I don't know, but most of them you get to film are genuinely up and up guys who have held top secret security clearances for a very long time. And people are like, well, they would never divulge. I have a bunch of them as friends. They absolutely will. They don't want to go on record and ruin their lives. And some of the stories are so specific, it could absolutely ruin them. But they've seen wild things at national labs, like national labs that are studying God only knows what, but the security guys, now understand these security guys at this particular facility run up armored vehicles, roof mounted weaponry, armed to the teeth. And whatever they were seeing in the woods around this property scared them so much they lobbied the union to change the patrol route.
So could they have been shooting at these things?
No, same thing for them. So interestingly enough, their rules of engagement for security depends on the facility, depends on the level of facility. If it's an unknown thing, it's a threat, but if it's unknown, they're still going to call in to get approval. If they can identify it, and typically most everything for them, quote unquote, is identifiable. Like if it's a person, you can be shot on sight. Do they always do that? No. It's terrible for press and publicity, and they don't want that. And it's usually some anti-war nun from the 70s who hiked over a fence, and they're like, all right, sister, you got to go back. You know, they're not going to gun her down, but they have that authority, and they're immune from prosecution. Just like a lot of people aren't aware, all nuclear material for warheads in the United States anyway is owned by the Department of Energy, and they have their own security team that transports the actual fissionable material from place to place, whether they be nuclear rods for a nuclear plant or weapons grade material. They have a federal force, and those guys, if a sheriff's deputy or the FBI tried to stop them, they'd win that gun battle, and not only that, they'd win it in court. You cannot stop them. They have probably the most wide sweeping powers of anyone, and that's why most of these research facilities are on DOE property, because they're not beholden to anyone, not legally.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have they ever told you anything that they may have seen, or do you know anything that they may have seen? Like the labs as well, did they had anything that they were working on?
So another documentary that would be interesting to talk to, and this was an answer in a sort of a way. I'm not trying to deflect, but I am deflecting. Firefighters. These facilities do not have military firefighters. They have their own private firefighters. Now, typically the higher level firefighter guys or gals, sorry, I'm not trying to be sexist there. They have full access to the entire facility, and they're fully aware, not necessarily what's going on, but they've been in every building because they have to. And they have to have the ability to put out any kind of fire, whether it be chemical, electrical, gas. They're extremely well trained. In fact, they get paid overtime to train. Uncle Sam pays them to train. One of the few things where not only do they work a normal work week, and they're like, hey, you need to get so many range hour, you need to get so many firefighting hours of education, then they pay them extra for it. So it's a pretty sweet gig to get. And they have a much better understanding of what's going on in the labs. And I do have cool stories, but
let's hear one. What have they seen?
Nah, I'm not going to do that, because eventually my face will be out and my location will be out, and it'd be too easy to out somebody.
Okay, man. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be hard. Wouldn't be hard to be friends with these people. But again, you'd have to not care about ruining someone's life, security clearance, everything. Potentially getting them prosecuted.
But ain't there a way you can just say, look, I heard from a friend of a friend through a friend that they saw?
No, because there's information that's super specific. I have a couple friends. The information is super specific. It's nothing great or grand. If it was great or world shattering, I'd absolutely share it. It's more of like a anecdotal almost story of like, hey, they don't want to search for X on the internet because of Y, or this spooky thing happened to this group of guys that are well armed and well trained, and none of them like to talk about it. It's all along those things. It's not like, hey, I see a regular thing at XYZ time. Yeah.
And because things are compartmentalized, they would probably know who you're talking about at that point.
They would know exactly who, because they could easily find out how many people had access to the facility.
Right.
Like my buddy that works for NASA,
okay.
right? He designed things that are on the space station, whether you believe it's up there or not. He's designed the parts on the space. I've gone with him to the NASA labs in Alabama, and we were just kind of screwing around, and we wanted to see how many doors his key card would open. We got stopped.
Holy crap.
But turns out it doesn't open all of them, but it opened a lot more than he thought it would. But again, it's just mostly machine shops. You know, the coolest thing is they have like a 5-story 3D printer that they're playing with, and it doesn't print in plastics, it prints in steels with laser powdered blah blah blah. I don't know. The smart guy things that are way beyond me, man. But yeah. I mean, those would be good documentaries. You talk to the janitorial staff; they contract that out too. These people see and hear everything, and they're the forgotten eyes and ears. You want good story, you want good material, just for your own repertoire. Those are the people you need to talk to.
Just like the janitors at a high school, they know everything.
They know everything. Mess with the bull, you get the horns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Do you not think some of them would be scared to speak out about it though? That
Nah, man. That again,
revealing secrets.
Well, I mean, what secrets are they going to reveal? Like, hey, we've seen regular lights in the sky. I'm sure they're testing something. Hey, we've seen something bizarre out in the woods. We don't want to go out there anymore. Hey, I've been through this facility and have an idea what they're looking at. You don't Google X on the computer because they check our stuff. You know,
I'd be wanting to know what they saw. These highly trained men, what they saw out there in the woods that they don't want to go out there no more.
A couple of them are killers. I mean, straight up. Like I know what they used to do, and I know that this is their twilight years. They're not afraid of anything.
I believe that. But what did they see to make such gladiators afraid of their own shadows out in the woods?
You know, the weird thing is, if I knew, I'd tell you. I could not honestly get them to tell me.
There you go. That's what I want to know.
They didn't even want to talk about it. They didn't want to talk about it.
Sounds like Skinwalker Ranch too.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of those guys came forward and said there's nothing going on there that worked for Bigelow for all those years.
You know, I listened to that. So Skinwalker Ranch is a pet fascination of mine. And it's kind of like they take it over scale. So there was the one guy who was she's a UFO researcher. He was married to her before she got like a restraining order or something. I can't think of her name.
Yeah, that was
you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And her dude was security out there, and he'd always said, I didn't see anything. And then he had these elaborate stories of how he was like communing with nature, and then he didn't see anything. And my assessment, and again, I'm not a professional in this regard, but is that he's a little unbalanced. And if I was Bigelow and activity at the ranch had slowed down, the best thing I could do is hire someone who's maybe got some PTSD, slightly unbalanced, stick him out at the ranch and see what happens.
Erica Lukes.
Yeah. Her former man, Chris Marks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Erica. She's good.
Yeah, but
very tall.
Did he get that way before he was there? Did he already have PTSD? I'm sure he did because he's an ex-soldier, right?
I'm not. He's always been unbalanced as far as I understand. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like me.
No, he's really unbalanced.
Hey, we're all unbalanced on this planet.
As long as we're fair, right?
Yeah. But I think those are...
Unless you're a flat earther, you're definitely not unbalanced.
There's nothing saner than six
people
getting together on the internet on a Friday night to talk about aliens. Nothing saner than that.
I don't have much to say about aliens. I'm just sitting back listening to you experts.
Yeah.
I can't help thinking, though, that Skinwalker Ranch is almost like a very modern version of the Loch Ness Monster.
Maybe.
Well, the guy who originally lived there, who sold it to Bigelow for only $200,000, by the way, not much. He said he heard something out in the woods or something, let his 3 dogs go, and then he heard 3 loud howls, and then his dogs didn't come back, so he went out looking for him and saw 3 piles of greasy ash, which were his dogs. And it scared him so much that him and his wife sold it to Bigelow, I guess. But I don't know why somebody like that would just make up a story. There must be something going on in this world for us to be so involved in it that
100%.
we believe something, but we just don't know how to believe it.
I think Bigelow did definitely think something may have gone on there. Do you think that he may have been led on by the people working for him? Almost, they thought, the fucking money's coming in here. Let's keep that money coming in.
Yeah, that was the discussion that Erica Luke, that guy said. He's like, I don't know if it was him, but somebody came out and said, hey, what are you doing? Do you find anything? Bigelow asked him. He's like, look, man, there's nothing out there. And he goes, look, you're getting paid to find something. Find something. And that's kind of how it went down.
You look at all these, where when you get studies and stuff done, it'd be a good one that you could say on YouTube right now would be the mobile phone one that was putting about whether mobile phones cause cancer, and it was Nokia that paid for that study to be done. Lo and behold, mobile phones are fine. We should all strap several to our heads, and it will be grand.
But Nokia's fucked now.
Well, yeah, but that was the study. It was like done back in like 90s, I think, wasn't it? Early 2000s, something like that.
But you don't stay at Skinwalker Ranch for 7 years if there's nothing there. You stay there for a little bit, maybe 3-6 months, a year. But to stay there that long just waiting for something to happen, I'm not sure I'm buying that nothing happened.
No, I'm
maybe
not.
Maybe it's a nice piece of property. He just likes it there.
It's a terrible piece of property.
He got it cheap.
Yeah, he did. And now it's...
I think it's people specific. I think
how much is that property worth?
$5 million now, I think.
Millions.
See? There you go.
But now they have the Blind Frog Ranch that's trying to make money off of it. We have stuff here too. Has anybody seen it? I haven't seen that documentary on it.
What's it called?
Blind Frog Ranch.
Is that what the documentary's called? Hey!
There's
it
a
is.
TV show, Blind Frog Ranch.
Oh, it's a TV show? Okay. Yeah. There he is. Stupid.
I think it's person specific. I think you could stick people that aren't. Stop derailing me with your frog.
Sorry.
I love that.
Hard work.
That's so funny.
I'll derail you with this.
Oh, Adrian! I did it.
Oh, come on, man. I see Rocky Dennis, man. I don't see him.
I can't believe he got that. I can't believe that got taken down off Twitter.
Well, you expected a fucking rational thing from a fucking psychopath.
All I said, you look like you're taking a shit.
Yeah, but
that's all I said.
Like
I didn't even say shit. I said dump.
I mean, what? I mean, let's face it. If just bring that back up. I mean, you see that like his little profile.
He's probably going to
picture.
try to have me.
No, but you see his profile picture down the bottom in the little the white circle. It's not like when he actually tries to take a picture, he's a fucking oil painting, is it? So at this point, it really doesn't matter.
To be fair, both them pictures, looks like he's taking a shit.
He always does. Any updates on the flying car routine?
No.
He's done.
Finished.
He was done with the video, wasn't he? With the letter you're not allowed to say on YouTube.
What he's probably going to do is going to go back into the what was it, the big the hangar?
Yeah, the warehouse.
He'll go back in there. He'll just roll a wheel out of the hangar and go, no need for that, people.
I suspect the money for that flying car's gone up his nose in the form of a certain Bolivian marching powder, by the looks of it.
Do you know what I hope? I hope when he runs out of that powder, he goes back to the same hangar with just like 4 car wheels, and he just spaces them out and then films and goes, look, people, we're nearly there. We just need to work out how to make the wheels disappear.
That's so funny. That's actually smart if he did that.
I'll tell you what is smart.
Huh?
If you want to make a flying car, there's a guy that works at where's Bob Lazar work at?
Area 51.
No, what's his company called that makes fireworks?
Oh, something
Oh, United
Nuclear. Yeah,
There
United
it is.
Nuclear.
Yeah.
There you go,
Absolute
David.
leader.
Get that guy. Get that guy to make your fucking flying car. Is he?
You make it run of water as well.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Right. Back to what we were saying before, I'd like them to make like someone with some money to make a documentary about the Montauk Project and the MK Ultra like adjacent things that were disappeared before Clinton apologized for it.
Stranger Things. That's the movie. They already did that.
Yeah. But I'd like some money thrown at it because that I think all this stuff. I think UFOs. I think the abductions. I think all this stuff is interdimensional. I think we look at it the wrong way when we look at it as being like from a different planet.
But why would Earth be that special? Like that there would be magical things happening here. What would make that?
What if it's the only place? What if it is special? What if it is special? What if we're special? What if the Fermi paradox is right? You know, the fact that I see the way I look at it is, I can understand if you were to click your fingers and we were all to exist right now from this point forward. I can understand how governments of the world could hide alien visitation from different planets. Yeah, I don't believe over the course of human history that if we were observing alien craft that were coming from different civilizations on different planets, I don't believe that over this like period of life it wouldn't have become common knowledge that was happening. I think if we were constantly being visited, it would end up being. I don't think we'd have made up like gods and folklore. I think it would have progressed to a point where it was common knowledge it was going on, because it's not common knowledge it's going on because 95% of people, if you go out and speak to them in the street, don't take it seriously. I think it would be the same as we would be looking at fucking advanced seagulls in the air. We know seagulls are there. We don't communicate with them. We can't really do anything with them. But it would be like futuristic seagulls by now. We would know that we see aliens now and again, or we see another life form that we can't quite communicate with. If it's interdimensional and if it is more akin to, like, for want of better words, but more akin to magic than technology, there's a reason why it'd still be fanciful and fantastic.
What if though, Lee? And I've always thought this. I don't think this now, but what I have always thought is, if the aliens are coming here and they're coming on craft, why would we ever see them? You know, if they can travel stupid distances or move between space and time, whatever, however they do it, they would have the technology not to be seen. You know, I'm pretty sure now some of our stealth stuff can pretty much do that it will not be seen. So I reckon these things could probably, if they want the lights to go out, the lights will be out. You know, why would these things ever reveal as themselves unless they wanted to communicate? Now, if the lights that we're seeing in the sky is, I'm gonna give Stephen Greer or some of who's the guy that I had on, Ray Hernandez. I'm gonna give them some kudos here when they talk about looking out to the sky and having that connection with this thing. That goes back to what you've just said. What if that thing that you maybe they're not bullshitting you there? Maybe that thing that you are connecting with is connecting with you back.
The top and bottom of it is for me, and what stopped me, because like when I first did a show with you and you came on my podcast years ago, and I started coming on here, like I wanted you on to talk about UFOs, and I was a firm believer that there was UFOs flying around. that were piloted by little grey fellas that probably came from Alpha Centauri, and that they were now and again snaffling people up and doing stuff with them. Especially over what's happened over the last two years, even though it's kind of on this way now. If Western governments and Western media are so desperate, and sorry, it's not so desperate, quietly desperate, say, to convince people like me and a slightly broader audience now that we are being visited by extraterrestrials, then I don't buy it because I don't trust them. If that's what they want me to believe, I don't believe it.
You know what I think is interesting? Powerful people in positions of government who are supposed to have the know or some kind of or more information than we have, right? That's what we assume. We assume they're able to disclose something. We assume that they have information. What if they don't? What if their theories are no different than ours? I think it's telling that you have a lot of powerful people who should have access to government information, especially on UFOs or whatever, that are still heavily involved in the occult. If I had absolute proof of technology from another world, I don't care about the occult anymore. I care about trying to make contact with that technology. Unless they're so close to each other, the lines blur between where one begins and the other ends.
Yeah, well, I mean, even look at things like that. I mean, the other one I would like if someone was going to make a documentary was I'd like a really good documentary, like conspiratorial documentary about CERN. And if you've got people that are there telling you, yeah, the spaceships, yeah, we've probably got Retcraft. They're full of people from another planet, and then you go, right, oh, that's cool, but over at CERN, they seem to be doing like satanic rituals with with dancers with things coming out of portals and monsters and stuff like that. And they go, no, don't look at that. That's fucking nonsense. That's just art, isn't it? Like in between science, in between all the science smashing the particles together, they love a bit of creative dancing.
Yeah,
like,
and also look at their statue outside Shiva.
Yeah,
isn't that the destroyer?
Yeah, which they then go and do a fucking mock sacrifice in front of it. I mean, even if that's a joke, that's fucking weird.
So Lee and Ollie and I did a podcast for the War Room. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you are.
Yep.
And we had another gentleman on, and he bring up, and I don't want to ruin it. And you guys care if we give away that one bit that ties into CERN?
No. Crack on.
So he's involved in paranormal research, ghost hunting, all that kind of jazz. And occasionally he comes across things that seem to be malevolent and goes to the church for help. And with one gentleman in particular, it's a really good episode when it releases. Please go listen to it. But the thing he dropped that was interesting that I didn't know, I believe it was the Church of England is what he was talking about, right? Yeah, the Church of England specifically, that they have launched or have always had their own exorcism branch.
Yep.
And in the last 15 years, they've been continually beefing it up because in the last 14, 15 years, these reports have grown exponentially of nefarious type activities. What launched and turned on 14, 15 years ago?
CERN.
And then when it clicked off for a little while, the reports, I got to looking online, the reports went down, and they're getting ready to turn on, or they've already turned it on? I think they're getting ready to turn it on again, right?
Yeah, there is a new test that is coming very soon. I think it's the biggest one they've done yet. It may have already been done. Was it on what date we're on now?
I don't know.
The 3rd. I think it's today.
And correlation doesn't equal causality. I get that,
it's July, 3rd of July. 3rd of July. That's when it.
A friend of mine's on the Atlas project, and he was also working with the engineers to beef up the particle collider to where it is now. So he was on the project to do that, and I suspect it's winding down now, and he'll be looking for another bit of work. but I can tell you categorically it's got bugger all to do with religion.
Oh, I didn't say it did have anything to do
or
with religion.
Satanism, or
I didn't
the
say that
occult
either.
or anything like that.
I don't
Sorry.
think it does.
Then what's with the ceremonies? And make no mistake, those those things are ceremonies.
I have to say they're a bit weird. I mean, unless it's just students fucking about. Like,
Which
I've
they
done
do.
that.
Because they have fucking production value to them. That the one it's outside. I think it was probably about 6 years old now.
I've seen it. Yeah, it's very weird.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that wasn't CERN though. That was the opening of a tunnel.
No,
That's
they're
the
on
one
about
that
a different one. No,
Oh,
that's
right.
a different one.
Yeah.
The CERN's one wasn't it allegedly filmed? No, it was a student.
No, there was another opening ceremony, which it's like I know the tunnel one you're talking about. It is
Yeah,
like that.
I do too. Yeah,
But
I mean, regardless whether it's they are doing anything like devilish or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think you should. I know it's science, but when you, how safe do we know firing things round that fast to create little tiny fucking black holes? And these scientists go, this is safe. We can do this on Earth. We can do this because we know that in this vicinity it's only going to do this amount of not damage, but it's going to cause a little bit of a problem in here. It's contained, okay? How do us the little people trust in that?
So yeah.
That's go on,
Sorry.
Rich. No, definitely. I want to hear this.
What gets people a lot of the time is they look at a particle collider and they automatically think about, well, what's the next thing from that? Well, that's nuclear, a nuclear explosion. So they think, oh, they're smashing it together. That's going to be like that. But a nuclear explosion requires a lot of what you call fissile material. You then create a chain reaction within this fissile material, and you have to keep it under a great deal of pressure and then let it explode. And that's when you get such an enormous explosion. So it does release a lot of energy, but you need quite a lot of fissile material to get that going. Now, what you're actually doing with particle colliders is taking two single particles and banging them together basically and just catching the little bits that come off it. It's not the same as creating an explosion or anything like that. This is very, very, very small stuff. So you're just not going to do any of the kind of damage, and it's not going to have any chain reaction or anything like that because there's not enough stuff for it to bang against.
There was real concern there, wasn't there, about the black hole thing?
Yes. And
the idea that you could create a black hole.
No, there was never any concern.
No, not with. I don't think they're talking about CERN being concerned about that. CERN being concerned. I think you're talking about the general population.
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking was reasonably concerned about it, wasn't he?
Yeah. They're doing things at CERN that they've never done at any other particle accelerator because of the size of it. I have a former business partner. We used to. I have patents with him. Before he came to me, and I'm not saying I'm anywhere near this guy. This guy built particle accelerators. He called them tabletop versions, which they are not tabletop versions. They're massive, but that's what he called them. And he used to joke when we were together when CERN was getting built. And his thing was like, dude, they're going to be able to do things there that are unimaginable. And the folly of bright men and scientists is that they think they totally understand. And the one thing we have learned from CERN, and I'm sure you know this, Rich, is that the gluons and these exotic exotic particles, we found that they are linked in some way that we have yet to truly define.
Is this the God particle you're talking about?
That and the double-blind studies of photons.
See, I know
popped up.
nothing about
Okay,
physics at all.
so shooting,
You have to speak to me like
and understand, I'm
I'm
a layman. I'm definitely a layman. I'm not into that. That's not my thing. So, and I understood it to be either, I believe it's photons. Firing photons, they go onto the right side of a double blind. They behave one way. They go on the other side of this little screen. They behave another way. And whoever was watching and had an expectation of how they would perform is how they performed. When no one was watching and the results would be recorded, they got all possible results. It did both. And that's linked to consciousness being linked to a lot of things. Yeah.
Is this like the twin slit experiment?
Thank you. There it is.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So this happened. This hasn't happened anything to do with CERN or anything like that. These were experiments done in the late 18th and early 19th century. Sorry, 18th, 19th and 20th century. Yeah. And what we found was that that if you fired photons through two slits, you would expect them, if they were particles, to create two lines against a screen. Okay, but what was happening was you were firing particles, and you were getting a distribution pattern on the screen at the end, so it looked like it was waves. I can find a video on this if you're interested.
Oh no, you're doing a great job. Like I said, I only know it in the most basic of terms.
And it won't matter because it's
Rich. I mean, we'll bring up the. You could do
okay.
You could do a physics thing on the channel at some point. But here's the question: as a physics guy that knows a lit. I mean, I know you said to me you don't know loads, but you know quite a little because you are a physics guy. Do you think that some of this tech that these guys are using? Do you ever think in your head? You're not going to think in your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever think they've taken this from an advanced tech and that's come from somewhere else?
Okay. I don't see any evidence of advanced technology in our day-to-day world, and what I think the problem with our current thing is, if we were to build something like a Tic Tac, okay, if these things were objects and people, let's say human beings, were flying around in them because they were man-made, I think the amount of technology that we would need to build what we think a Tic Tac is, with it being anti-gravity and hypersonic and multimedia, all of that requires a level of engineering and a level of AI and a level of physics and science that we just don't know. We just don't have anything like that. It is if it's man-made, then I could almost guarantee that it is some kind of spoofing or something like that. That's why I'm so hot on the idea of laser-induced plasmas being used as countermeasures, because someone can sort of, and this is where, in The Sun recently, they were talking about there was a fireball that flew over one of the ships. I forget the name of the ship. I think Roosevelt or something like that. And it was in the Sun newspaper recently. Somebody was coming on and saying that they saw this fireball fly faster than any plane has ever done over a ship, and he was on the ship at the time. That, to me, is like a laser-induced plasma type thing. If it's a fireball, it's a bright light that can be focused on by lasers. You know, you get lasers to converge on a spot, and it'll burn the air at that spot, or ignite the plasma, and you can then move it around. To me, that's more. If it's human made, it's referring to what Lee says, it's a blue beam type thing. It's a spoof. It's to tell people that there's something up there. Do you get what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
We just don't have the technology or the engineering. We would see it elsewhere in other things a little bit, you know. We're still chucking things up in the air and still pushing things.
I think I meant about
That's my thing. So sorry, Ollie, carry on.
Go on, Lee. I just have to add here. This is why I like having such a diverse panel. I love having the guy next to me that's verging on the turtle's back. I like having the guy in the bald Rich in the bottom. Is it my left or is it my right? I can't tell. It's my right. I know it's my right, but I don't know what it is for the audience. But it could be your left. But I like this. I like having a diverse panel that has very different views. I think it's cool that and can all get along.
This is my problem with earthly technology for the answer of these things. Is I still believe that if one country had these things, there you have a level of speed there that would give full spectrum dominance over the planet for anyone. And even I think I'd be right in saying this. If you had something that could move that quickly, you wouldn't even need like munitions involved as far as weapons, because you could simply fire something like a Tic Tac at another place, and that's going to make such a massive explosion with essentially no fallout or anything like that. Yeah, it's just going to be a massive fucking kinetic weapon. But so I think there'd be a massive military advantage for somebody that had those things. One country would have perfected it first, too. So if one country perfected it first, the second country wouldn't get to perfect it because they'd already be speaking the language of that other country. And the other one's private industry. There is no way that people like Bezos and Musk are firing so much money into their individual solid rocket programs, like solid fuel rocket programs, if there's even a hint of the idea of this technology being hidden somewhere else, because it would just be a horrendous waste of time and money.
And just remember Steve Justice, who's the only person that's publicly talked about anything to do with
the only person with UFOs. A real superhero name as well.
And do you know where he's gone? He's in Virgin Galactic now, so he's gone over to Richard Branson's crew.
Holy shit, we're gonna have a holiday on a Tic Tac soon.
He's a weird guy, Branson. Of all the billionaires, I trust him the least.
Hey, Ollie, I gotta get going, man.
You got your show?
Yeah.
What time?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Beautiful. Well, before you go, Rich, I want to ask you this question. So it's no secret that you and Cambion have had a disagreement. Would you come on here with Cambion? I have
no idea who you're talking about, to be honest.
Stephen Cambion. It looks a little bit like Kylo Ren.
I'll be honest with you, I don't recall. I've never heard of that guy. Stephen Cambion? It sounds familiar, but yeah, I don't know, man. I guess I would. I'll have to look him up.
So I'll take that as a yes then.
I don't know. I don't know who the guy is, bro. Should I?
No, absolutely not. I mean, if you can't remember that,
I don't like talking to people I don't know. I don't know what their intentions are.
If you can't remember, that must mean all is forgotten. That must be it's water under the bridge.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll talk to anybody.
Cool.
Maybe his face will ring a bell.
Can I say it, Ollie? You're missing a pun, man. It's water off a frog's back.
No, nice.
Well, Rich
has to hop off now.
I have to fuck off now.
Yeah.
As they say.
They said hop off.
Oh.
like ribbit.
You guys always say fuck off in Britain. British, whatever the fuck you are.
Yeah, no, we only speak like that to your mum. That's it.
What'd you say about my mom?
No, my mum. That's
okay.
Fuck off.
I'm joking, dude. I'm joking.
I know you do. So am I. I've been joking. But your show's coming up in how long?
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Oof. Fine.
You better hop off then,
I am going to hop off. Thank you for having me on. Nice talking to everybody. Black Star, Rich, Hidden Underbelly 2.0, Lee from Must See Audio Podcasts.
See you.
Rich,
have a good night, guys.
Thank you so much. We love you. Bye-bye.
The pleasure's been all yours.
I know.
No, it's been mine. I'm joking.
No,
I don't want to be that guy anymore.
It's been his.
All right. See you guys.
Hey, Rich.
See you,
Rich.
Right,
ribbit.
Oh, God.
I may watch that in bed. So boys,
Nice.
we've got about another 5 minutes. But just for anybody that's new coming to the show, this is what the show started off on, and it's gone on a little bit of a tangent about all sorts of things. But this is where this is what we began with.
I have seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking as recently as last Friday.
That guy's such a tool.
Such a fucking bold. The testicles on that man. If he's not heard that and he's just made that, if he's just pulled that right out of his arsehole and just put that out there, the testicles on that man for doing that. I have respect for that. No, for that.
Do you think?
Just remember. Sorry, Dave.
I was gonna say, do you think he's actually interested in any of these topics at all? I mean, genuinely.
Good question.
I don't get that vibe.
I think he's interested in it, but I think the what he just did there was very similar to what your man did. Fuck me, fucking hell. The fucking military guy that's doing the UFO stuff. I'm so bad with names.
Lou.
Yeah. It's the same thing as what Lou did when he was on that podcast where he was having his normal conversation about stuff and then just dropped in, yeah, and they might be demons. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. It's do you know, Mr. Corbell, if I ran a used car lot, I would definitely hire him as a salesperson. Because I think he would do and say anything to get the sale. I think he's one of those people. He means everything absolutely in the moment, and anything outside of that doesn't really matter before or after.
We've messaged back and forth a few times, like literally through email. He got in touch with me on one of my videos, said email me. I emailed him, and he asked for my actual personal telephone number. I gave him it.
I've never seen your curiosity so weaponized.
It was, and it was definitely him. But then it went quiet. He wanted to discuss Bob Lazar. He said you're getting some things right about Bob Lazar, but you're getting a lot wrong. But I'd like to. We'll speak offline. But let's not do it over email. Give me a number and we'll have a chat. Gave him it, never got in touch. Weird. Would one of you boys like to kindly read Mystic 15's 1999 super chat? I appreciate that, my friend, but I'm dyslexic, and if I read this, you'll wish you never paid me to read it. You know.
Okay, our society is still based on technology from the 1920s to 1930s. We have just polished and reshaped the turds. We are only 150 years from horse-drawn carts. We are either full of ourselves or we are all fooled. Real tech hidden. No.
No, you don't think
Disagree.
that, Rich? You think that we just did that leapfrog leapfrog came from nowhere? It just came from humans, that we've actually
Yeah.
managed to do that all ourselves.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely we have.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure Rich is gonna say something more interesting than what I'm gonna say. But when you think of like 1920s and 30s technology, and you like think about the old trumpets you used to have, you know, for hearing aids, where people would, like stick a trumpet to their ear so they could hear something. Now,
yeah.
now dial up to 1,000,000, where you can essentially put earbuds in, which will which you can drop frequencies out. You can essentially mix ambient sound, so you can go from deaf to like a studio mix of the world now. It's fucking insane what we've done in such a short time.
Yeah, but there's a very, very clear evolution through all of this. Okay, so you had an ear trumpet, yes,
Yeah. No, I agree.
but it's very, very, you know, a
Increment.
But
straight.
it's interesting that we've stuck on one technology that gets us into space.
That is interesting.
But that's because we don't have any extra physics. We just don't. All we have is Newtonian physics, really. That is, if you want to go one direction, you push the other way in some way. You either throw something behind you or you push against something. You know, that's it. Newton's third law.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with the breakaway civilization or super advanced tech being out there. I think that there is a little bit more advanced tech, but it's just a faster moving thing of what we have. You know,
I think
what I mean?
if there has been a situation where we could have had different tech, you know, the whole like Tesla free energy sort of thing, I think it's more likely that has been just trampled on and forgotten because of monetary interests from other people, you know, than purposely hiding it and keeping it and using it somewhere else. It's just been like, oh, we can't fucking sell that. Let's just not talk about it. And then over time, we are just where we are.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I agree. You know, if there are answers out there, they're probably languishing in labs or patent offices somewhere, and nobody's gone, well, if we take that invention, and that invention, and we put them together, you know, it could be lying out there, but I doubt it. I really do. I just don't think we've gone in that direction.
What I did enjoy, I just finished watching a documentary, and for the fucking life of me, I can't remember what it was called. It's on BitChute, and if you search for like mud flood stuff, it's on there, and it's the guys have got a website as well, and it's a really well done. I think it's the first part's like 45 minutes, then they get steadily longer. I think there's about 6 of them, and the last one's like 3 hours. But it talks about the world fairs a lot, and the things that were built for the world's fairs and the technology that was there, and how ridiculous it seems that these buildings were built into just a short space of time and then demolished like 6 years later after being built in sort of 6 months time, 6 months. I think it's definitely worth a watch. And I'll try and remember what it's called. I'll give it to Ollie so he can put it in the description. But it's definitely something that makes me wonder whether we've been at a higher technological place. Yeah, you know, it's not. I'm not saying we were more advanced than we are now, but a very advanced situation only a few hundred years ago. You know, it was like 600-700 years ago. And something's happened, and that's been lost. And essentially what we've ended up with is we've ended up building on the blocks of what we'd already lost, not 100% understanding it. It's really interesting, especially when it comes to old buildings. And it comes to old buildings when they've been excavated underneath, and the doorways of those buildings are 18 foot under the doorways we're using in and out of those buildings today.
I've seen clips of this on something else as well.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. It is my favorite thing to look at the minute.
Is it your new go-to? Not flat Earth videos anymore.
I'm done with flat Earth.
Anyway, guys, we have been going for 2 hours, and I know Richie's show is about to start, but I'll speak to a few of you after the show. But Rich UFOTech, what have you got lined up over the next over this year? Let's just say this year, which is 6 months. You've got 6 months, Rich. You've just launched a channel advertisement, which is in the description below. What's the plans for the channel?
The plans for the channel, well, for me just to throw out my thoughts on just observations on the UFO community. As I said, I don't think I have anything particularly new or groundbreaking to offer in terms of ideas or stuff like that. But what I want to do is I want to engage with the UFO community, because I think, as I said before, I think they're a vulnerable community, and what I want to do is I want to start talking about how people to sharpen up their critical reasoning skills and try and break down any common UFO tropes that exist in the because there's quite a lot of shortcuts to people's thinking that prevents them from seeing the rubbish, shall we say? Yeah. So that's the kind of thing. So I don't think I'll be having team chats or anything like this. I'll just be doing little.
Every now and again, you're going to drop a little treat. You should use some of your knowledge in physics within what you're doing when it comes to some of these debunks as well. I'd like to see somebody with that sort of mind analyze some footage and just tell us what you see.
Okay, I'll have a look. Yeah, cool.
Hidden Underbelly, my lad.
Yes, I'm here.
What's coming up? What's coming up along the? What's lined up?
I have nothing lined up. You just have to wait to see. You have to wait to see.
Are you going to start? Are you going to do some live shows?
I'm hoping to.
So what you get? You're about 60,000 subscribers at the moment.
No, 50 and change.
Okay, nearly. Is it more than the 50 or is it nearly to 60? I saw you had 50 something the other day.
It's coming up to 55.
So 55,000 subscribers.
Coming up.
How many live shows have you done?
In the past, a few. So
get some live shows done and get me on so I can get some of your 55,000 subscribers over to Alien Addict, mate.
Indeed, indeed.
Mate, I'd like to see you do a live show. On a serious note, it'd be great to see. We could just talk about a live show talking about UFO footage where people send their footage in live. That would be cool.
Yeah. That's basically how my live shows consisted of. But so it would be cool to come on. We just go through some videos and we have a little chat about them. Because I think it's good to take a critical look at them. Definitely try and not everything is a UFO. I suffer from the wow factor, but just have some fun. Have some fun, man.
Have some fun with it. Yeah. Well, people go head on over it. The description is in the description. The link is in the description. And I'm going to save that little red bastard till last. So Lee, What's coming up next?
Normal Musty Audio stuff. We just uploaded a new War Room about 3 days ago, something like that, maybe. There'll be another Alien Addict podcast up over the weekend. And the circle continues to go. Subscribe to Musty Audio. It's fucking ace.
Beautiful. You've got Formula One, but it's not in. I'm not putting in the description.
Oh yeah, no. If you like Formula One, I've got one called the Hot Lap F1 Hot Lap F1 show. So yes, go like that. I like Formula One.
He does indeed. And Black Star Paranormal
promotion.
Yeah,
yes,
you're all great at it. Black Star Paranormal.
Yes.
What's the plan, my friend?
It's an excellent question.
Are we allowed? Are we allowed to speak about what you were and what?
Yeah. So we did.
So you've had a channel.
Yeah. We just haven't launched it yet, not officially, but we're still building out the website and the merchandise. And we secured, I think, like 6 different locations for our exclusive use, and one that we got rights to in kind of a big way, and another one that's I'm trying to work out a friendly deal, but we're not going to have anything really to do with the UFOs because your world's kind of toxic. There's a lot of hate going on here. I'm sure when we get in the paranormal side, it'll be equal. But yeah, we're going to do investigations, I think, in a bit of a different way, a little more old timey. Like we have some different ideas about things and how to conduct research, and it's not like, are we going to prove something's there or not? It's going to be more of an experience-based thing. We hope to take, like, we just got 10 hours of footage at a former, it's an abandoned hospital that was left almost totally intact, and it's 165,000 square feet that we had total access to.
Is that the same one that you sent me the pictures of you?
Yeah.
Inside the.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
And so there's some other things that we're going to have, and like homes, buildings, businesses. In our particular area, me and my friends have links to be able to do these things, and we're just making sure that's all going to be secured, and there should be plenty of footage. We thought about doing like more UFO stuff. There's a guy, not trying to stump for him, but UFO Lou, where he built like his own night vision telescope, kind of, to look at he just points it up at the sky and you see things move through the night vision lens, and viewing through night vision optics like that, especially Gen 1, is difficult. We thought about doing it with some upgraded tubes because we have access to Gen 3 plus tubes.
Yeah, I've seen your equipment. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, you could, yeah, and we didn't use it for anything like this stuff. It just happens to translate. So, but unfortunately, that kind of equipment doesn't have built-in recorders, and trying to record through night vision or through sensitive flares like that, you just don't get the detail you would. So we've been looking at more commercial stuff that has built-in recorders. It's not great. I don't know. We're going to try and overcome that. We're going to do some fun things and see where it goes. We should have a weekly podcast is what we're shooting for, with all our investigation stuff built in, and we'll do live investigations, have people on while we're doing it. It'll be fun.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, boys, I want to thank you all for coming on and joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. I couldn't do it without you. I really couldn't. And
you really couldn't.
No, I really couldn't. And that includes you. Well, couldn't do it without you. I'm Richie's frog. No, I appreciate it. Don't you dare try and take my channel down, Wilcock, just because I put that up, because you took my tweet down and it was funny. I didn't even call him a twat.
That must have took all your energy.
I was really polite. I just said, mate, maybe you should. I've got the screenshot somewhere. I sent it to you, Lee. I think I sent you the screenshot.
You did send it to me.
What did my original tweet say? Can you just bring it up?
Oh, I haven't got it. Fuck.
But basically, I said might be a good idea when you want to make a thumbnail to not look like you're taking a dump. That was it. And in hindsight, when I watched the video, he's actually doing some sort of hillbilly accent or something like in his video. So that is why he's doing that.
Did you watch the video? Did you watch the video?
Yeah, I did after they put the tweet out, and then I thought,
just as well.
That's why his face was like that.
I had this horrible feeling of you would become infamous because the next headline would be heartless YouTuber mocks Wilcock who has stroke during live.
You should strike his live if it's still out there for appropriating for cultural appropriation. If he's speaking in a hillbilly accent, how dare you?
No, yeah. I'm not about that. Don't understand striking channels. Stop striking people. Stop. I can't stand this cancel culture. Fuck off with it. Anyway, boys, I'm gonna drop you all out, and I'm gonna say good night. God bless to the audience. Bye-bye. But thank you for joining us, people.
Bye-bye.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and that includes you, Mr. Frog, and this toilet. Little story here. Anybody remember this? Pretty sure you do. If you were born in the 1980s, it was a Ghostbusters toy. And I went to a shop the other day. My little boy, I said, listen, you've got a budget of £5. And you've got a budget. I've got two. You got a budget of £5. One of my boys chose Pokemon cards. The other one just said, I want this toilet. I was quite proud of him. Just not what I remembered. Yeah, I remember it was a lot bigger and a lot better built than that. It's shite. But anyway, I want to thank you all. You're all excellent. Subscribe, like, share, and all that jazz. And maybe, check out some of the merch because it's there. The missus loves it when I give it that. Go check out the merch. Go check out the merch. You need to tell them to check out the merch. I can't afford a new pair of shoes. I need your subscribers to pay for my shoes. Check out the merch. No, honestly, guys, it all pays for things like this, the StreamYard, my t-shirt, my hat. I have loads of copies of this hat. But without further ado, I'm going to bring this show to an end because I'm just babbling shit right now while I'm looking for this little outro video. Good night. God bless. Bye, the bugs don't bite. Bye-bye.
I have seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking as recently as last Friday.
Attempted shoot downs as recently, this is important, as last Friday.
Correct. And it happens on a weekly, if not daily basis. So you have to understand, we are protecting ground troops. So in certain areas of the world. So certain things that come in proximity to those ground troops, it is just mandated.
They're treated as hostile. Do we, because time is limited, do they fire back? Have they ever fired back?
That's we'll talk about. I'm going to pass on that question at this moment. But no, there's no aggressive.
That means yes, doesn't it?
What?
That means yes, doesn't it?
No. I will say that there's no overt aggressive action that seems to be taken towards us. It seems more of an observational and also another type of program.
Which screams as we come into the last seconds of this, Jeremy, and thank you for helping me tonight again.